and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we do? I'm your host, Michelle Albers, and my intention for today is to read a piece that felt important to put out into the world. And this piece explores the space between what we say and what's heard. And I'm sharing it, I think, to just bridge the gap between past interviews and my past, and then also just how I move forward in the future and how you might move forward in the future and how we might move forward together. If you're a listener of this podcast, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. And I appreciate all the likes and subscribes and follows and all of those things and the feedback that I get. I'm really appreciating all of that. So my intention is to start in gratitude and thank yous. And now I'm going to move into the piece. And I'm reading it, but I'm also extrapolating because when I just read something, I feel like it feels less personal somehow. When I read the words, my voice gets different. It's almost like I'm doing a guided meditation. So I'm going to be really, it's going to be a blend of reading and me, right? I mean, I wrote it, so it's me either way, but just saying, full disclosure. So I'm writing a book right now, and the working title is Never Broken, Never Healed, and Always Whole. And maybe, just maybe, this piece will give some light into what that might actually mean as well. But we often talk about this power of vulnerability and how sharing our darkest chapters or sharing our stories can really light the way for someone else's healing. There's just something about sharing your story and then someone hearing it or hearing someone else's story that resonates with you, that just reminds us that we're not alone. So, in my classes, I share my story. I've shared my story on various podcasts, and I really strive to be an open book about my journey with childhood trauma. And I do this for that reason, so that others know that they're not alone and that life can get better, I guess, because my life has gotten better since I've done healing and work around this, all of it, right? But when my trauma first surfaced, I felt really silenced by guilt and shame. And I mean, the suffocating idea, literally, that I was broken. I just told myself I was broken and unworthy and all the things. But as I've shared my story and as I've done my own healing with support and help from others, I've not been alone in that. I mean, I'm the one who has to choose it, but I've had a lot of ridiculous support that has been amazing and life-changing. But as I share my story and as many of you share yours in return, we've discovered together that the deeper truth of all of it is that we're actually not broken. We're never broken. We might feel it. We might feel fragmented and we might feel just really broken, but we're actually not broken. We might spend our lives finding those lost pieces of ourselves and the bits of us that we've left behind in our traumas or our experiences, but the core of who we are, that remains worthy and wise. We have this wisdom within us. And just, I think some of it is learning how to access that and to remember that we do love ourselves. There is a piece of us that can, at least, it's possible. And so this is literally the heart of what I do. The work that I do is navigating that infinite loop of healing by choosing ourselves and learning how to love ourselves and learning with awareness and compassion and courage. Like, it takes so much courage. And it's that realization that we're never fully healed. There's always more healing to do. But we're also never really broken to begin with. And so we always are at our center, in our soul, we are whole. And part of choosing yourself with awareness is learning this vital difference and distinction between secrecy and privacy. And I'm saying this specific to my own story, but also the stories that other tells. Like maybe we listen in a new and different way, or we have a little more intention and mindfulness when we do. Secrecy is born of shame, and it's what we hide because we are afraid of being seen. And I definitely kept my traumas secret for a very long time. Privacy, however, is born of self-respect, and it's the choice to hold certain details close because they're sacred or because they're just not necessary for the lesson being taught or for the point of what's being shared. And so when I share my experience or my experiences, I leave out specific names or graphic details. And I do that to keep the focus on the path to recovery and healing rather than the trauma itself. However, sometimes when we leave space in our stories, sometimes others can fill it with their own assumptions. And so I've never named the person responsible for my childhood trauma very intentionally. But I recently received a question that makes it important for me to clarify something. And I still get to maintain my privacy and my boundaries. So I really want to be crystal clear that the person responsible for that betrayal was a distant figure in my life, someone that I considered a friend at the time, but who was not a member of my household. To be honest, I didn't even consider that someone might make assumptions or even be curious about the who. The who was just never my focus. The who didn't matter. What mattered were the results of those experiences and the meanings that I gave them. The healing that came after was and remains the most important part, not just my own healing, but the tools and resources that I've been able to offer clients over the years because of the teachers, healers, and space holders who taught me how to be a catalyst, not only for myself, but then also for others. We're not doing this alone. We're doing this together. And I've developed skills and resources thanks to my teachers, healers, and space holders who've just taught me a lot. They've shared their wisdom. And I feel like it's living traditions, and we're meant to do that as well, to share our wisdom. So it's never about the trauma itself. It's how you navigate life that matters, and the meanings that you give your experiences, and the people you spend time with as you heal. And those people, they will ebb and flow just like life. And when you find people who understand, who can hold the space and see your worth, even when you can't, stay there. Stay with them. And when and if that shifts, move on. There will always be earth angels and spirit guides offering you choices. I think the biggest question is, which ones are you going to lean into? So as a storyteller, I feel I have a responsibility to share compassionately. And as listeners, I feel we have a responsibility in how we hear what's being said. Sharing our stories is a service, and it's also a humbling lesson in the ethics of storytelling. It's a reminder that while I have the right to share my history, I also have a responsibility to the truth. And so to those of you who follow my work and the work of others sharing bits of their souls, I ask that you consider respect that silence in the stories that you hear. When someone shares a piece of their soul, a part of their trauma, try to sit with the lesson they are teaching you, rather than hunting for the details they've chosen to keep private. And remember, you're not alone. Your story is unique to you. How and if you choose to tell it matters, and how and if you choose to hear others' stories matters too. I'm a healing catalyst and strategist. I believe that's why I'm here. And I'm always healing, integrating, and uncovering more of my authentic self. I've integrated what I know to be my deepest trauma, and I'll continue uncovering all parts of my humanness so I can braid them with all parts of my soul. My goal has always been to help us move forward together with awareness and the radical understanding that we are and always have been whole, even when we feel broken. I really appreciate you being here. And for those of you that stay and listen again and again, I appreciate that too. And when and if you decide it's your time to move on, I appreciate that. Be true to you. Go where it feels right. Listen to your highest self. And remember, never broken, never fully healed, and always whole. That's it for today. Bye.